terrorism in Canada, because as I've said many times, what happens in the UK today is happening in Canada a few years from now. So what they went through 5 years ago is happening here. So yeah, we had a terrorist attack in Canada, and his name is Faisal Hussein. He's 29. Police say he visited Pakistan and Afghanistan. Police say he visited ISIS websites. His brother is a drug dealer who right now is in a coma from a drug overdose. His brother's surety in court was provided by another man who has over 300 firearms offenses. So yeah, we're talking about family of the year here. But that's life under Justin Trudeau's Canada. Who knows, he might have come in under Stephen Harper. Wouldn't surprise me. Harper let in 500,000 Muslim migrants in his term. We shouldn't all put this on the Liberals. A lot of things going on here, of course. Oh, it's just mental illness, nothing to do with Islam, nothing to see here. People don't buy that because people saw in the video footage that he was not wild, he was not mad. This terrorist was calm, cool, collected, and he handled the firearms like an expert. The way he shot, the way he held the gun, the way he calmly reloaded, 40 bullets shot. He walked by a man named Jaspal Singh, as the name suggests, a Sikh man. The picture I saw of Jaspal Singh, he does not wear a turban. So Jaspal Singh has brown skin, and he could have been mistaken for a Muslim man. And I say that because Jaspal Singh says the murderer walked by him and said, "Don't worry, man, I'm not going to kill you." And Jaspal Singh said, "Thanks." And they walked right by each other. And Jaspal Singh went on to his life, and well, he's told both the Globe and Mail and the Toronto Sun that story. Yeah, look at this. He was following me. When we got to the end of the alleyway, he said, "Don't worry, I am not going to shoot you," Singh recalled. Singh said he responded with a thanks, and then the two men got closer together. We looked at each other. He said to stay out of his way, not as a threat, but as a warning. Can you get the same photo? Can you, from that same story, can you get the photo of Singh? I want to show what he looks like, because I think it's relevant. Because here you've got a terrorist who murdered two women, right? He murdered a 10-year-old girl and an 18-year-old young woman. So when he said to Jaspal Singh, "Don't worry, I'm not going to murder you," is it because Jaspal Singh is a man and he was only murdering women? Is it because Jaspal Singh is brown? That's Jaspal Singh. You see what I mean? He doesn't look traditionally Sikh because he's got the Sikh bracelet on his right arm, as you can see. But that's pretty low key. He's not wearing a big turban. He's wearing a hat. So that could be a Muslim fella, right? So did the terrorist spare Jaspal Singh's life because he's a man? Because he's brown skin? Because the terrorist thought he was Muslim? Why? He was an indiscriminate shooter. It seems 40 shots, more than a dozen wounded, 2 murdered, but not Jaspal Singh. Why did he not shoot this man? And in fact, why did he positively say, "Just be careful, man, I'm going to start shooting. Don't get in the way. You're fine"? I guess what I'm saying is, it's a terrorist attack, obviously. And the calm manner in which the terrorist did it puts a lie to the official narrative. It was just mental illness. Now, our friend David Menzies went down to the Danforth neighborhood. And I want to play his latest video where he does the streeters. And it's 12:49, so we've got some time. I'd like to play as much of his new streeters video as possible, you guys. So not just 60 seconds. How long is it, his one from yesterday? It's about what? It's about 6 minutes. Let's play the whole thing. Folks, I want you to see 6 minutes of David Menzies down at the Danforth. David's very gentle, not inflammatory, talking to severely normal people. And I want you to see what people not in the media party have to say, people in the neighborhood. I want you to see what they have to say about the terrorist attack. Do they believe the official narrative that this was just mental illness? It's nothing to do with Islam. Justin Trudeau's been on holiday all week. It's got to be nothing. The Prime Minister surely would care if it was something serious. Here, take a look at 6 minutes of David Menzies on Danforth.
Avenue, the day after law enforcement finally made the name of the mass shooter, Faisal Hussein, public. As you can see, folks, I'm in front of a makeshift memorial. People are coming by here all day long, writing words of encouragement and support. But the question arises, do people here on the Danforth buy the official explanation that Mr. Hussein was acting as a mentally ill individual, or was there perhaps something more to his act of carnage? Well, are you buying the narrative by the media and the authorities that this was merely an act of mental illness, or was there perhaps something more?
No, absolutely not. This was not active. This is an act of terrorism, absolutely. And my personal point of view, it was projected towards women. Maybe, I'm not sure what his objective was, or what his motive was, but I do feel he was aiming at women.
Well, certainly unfortunately, the two victims he murdered were women. Sir, if it was terrorism, why is there reluctance on the behalf of the authorities and the media to call it terrorism?
Because of the political agenda.
Come out and tell the truth. And the media now has been hiding a lot of this information. And I think the people are just getting fed up with it.
So, ma'am, you're saying that your daughter's friends were in the second cup and they made it out in time?
Yeah, they're 17 and two close friends of my daughter, and they were just out getting like a cold drink at the second cup, and they got delayed because they needed a drink remade, thank goodness, or they probably would have walked out the front door just as the shooter arrived. So the gunman reloaded and started shooting again through the front window, and they were able to get out through the back with all of the people there just stampeding to get out, got out through the back alley and then to a stranger's house, and the lady took care of them and drove them home, thank goodness.
He lives in a heavily populated Afghani-Pakistani neighborhood. I used to live there. Unfortunately, had to live in the same building. Once before, many years ago, over 25 years ago, it was a very nice, prestigious area. And then...
You actually lived at 43 Thorncliffe?
Yes. Okay. Yes, over 26 years ago.
And what made you leave, ma'am?
The area started changing on the east side of that area of Thorncliffe Park Drive.
If he was mentally ill, how did he obtain a handgun? Go to the trouble of that. How did he get some military training? According to a police officer, the way he was shooting was he absolutely had some military training, or at least some training in shooting a gun. And if he's mentally unstable, how did he manage to get a gun and do this?
We are, as pastors, we endeavor to be caregivers. And I have seen, and I think perhaps if you live in this city, you would have seen the upsurge in mental challenges in the city. But in terms of ISIS, we have no comment on that.
It's been a bad year, though, hasn't it? I mean, in terms of how many people are being killed in this city. Do you guys personally feel safe in this city right now?
I feel safe. I love Toronto. I love Toronto. I feel safe.
Okay. Absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not. It's a cover-up.
Well, you know that the news always, like, according to Trump, fake news.
It's not right? Fake news. It's the liberal biased news that wants to hide anything like this from the people so that they don't inflame passions, they don't get people upset. The media is left-wing bias. Everybody knows it, and people are starting to find out about it, and they're starting to get pissed off.
In Canada, we're such a wonderful, supportive country of many cultures. Why take out that kind of anger on all of us who are supportive of different religions and cultures? That would be a shame.
If you see the videos, this guy was trained. He was walking and shooting. I can do that. You cannot do that. Only a trained person can do that.
And he seemed to be very selective with his targets. I mean, he wasn't shooting at everybody. He was going to, specific people.
I'm not sure if he was selecting, but obviously he knew what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Definitely, because if you look at the videos again, you will see him, the way he shoots and the way he holds the gun. He had some kind of a training, yes. Not a small training. He had big training. If you take a gun and you go around, I don't think you can find the target. And he knew how to get the target.
He seemed that way on the video for sure. At the end of the day, was this indeed an act of terrorism?
Who am I to say? But I believe there's some kind of a link. Yes, he had some kind of, I don't want to scare people, but maybe he did, because people are telling me that when he was walking on the street, he was talking in another language and he was making sounds. I don't know what kind of sounds were you saying.
And for all the politicians, you're not doing enough. I'm sorry, guys, but you guys are not doing enough.
What would you like to see them do, sir?
I don't know if they can get rid of the guns, because look, we're going to get rid of the guns. Then what's going to come out? The knives? And then we're going to get rid of the vans? Okay? We got to go on with our lives. You can't live in fear. We can't live in fear anymore. This is so terrible, and it's killing me inside. That's really hit home. It's just killing me. For the little girl and the 18-year-old, it's just, it rips my heart apart. Like when I heard this, I just could not stop crying. My mom just left for Greece, and then when she called me and she told me how I'm doing, she heard about this. She was just out there like, I would never believe this would happen here on the damn fort. Never. I'll never believe that. And to the politicians, please, I'm begging you, please, from the bottom of Canada, Toronto, please do something, anything, open programs for young children, anything. I'm just so heartbroken that I guess I feel for everybody else, the people in restaurants, and terrible.
Very emotional ending there. But what do you make of the earlier comments too? Even that man's comments at the end. You know, you take the guns, they're going to come with knives. It's the problem with terrorism is not the particular tool they use. I was in the UK and I retraced the steps of the Westminster terrorist attacker who used a van, actually a 4x4. In less than 90 seconds, he sped across a bridge, hopped out with a gun and a knife, or sorry, just a knife. He killed someone on the bridge. He killed the first cop he met. So he used a vehicle and a knife. I also went to where Lee Rigby was murdered. He was murdered by butcher knives, big machetes. So it's not the tool. It's not the gun. It's not the knife. It's not the 4x4. It's the terrorist. And if you know, terrorists will use anything. They'll ram airplanes into buildings. It's not the tool that's terrifying. It's the person and the ideology behind it. There's a few super chats I missed. The person with the Greek name I can't read says, Trudeau talking about sending the police door to door to confiscate legal handguns, ironically at police gunpoint. I haven't heard that. I'm skeptical about that. I'm sure they will ban things, and when that doesn't work, they'll double ban them. And when that doesn't work, they'll triple ban them, super duper ban them. That's the point about gun bans, is if you're going to commit murder, you're probably not going to obey a paperwork offense and not have a gun. R1P Buck chips in $10. Thank you, and says, thanks for your honesty, Ezra. Harper isn't quite the conservative hero some people think he is. Oh, you're talking about Stephen Harper letting in 500,000 Muslim migrants. I think you're right. That's on Jason Kenney too, by the way. Here's the immigration minister. Warrior Linda Clark says, oh, believers, I fight those who do not believe. Yeah, I mean, if you read the Quran, it's a difficult read. It's not written in the style of the Western mind. It's a terrifying document. It's a document of war. It's 12:58. Let me just check with my team.